In this episode, Jake and I have a lovely conversation about all things infinite banking. Hope you enjoy listening. Thank you. Every policy cannot look like every other policy. And Jake's right. If, because we don't promote, we don't put money behind this podcast at all. It's attraction rather than promotion. I'm a capitalist. I might start spending some ad revenue, tick some of those people off on the internet that, because you type in infinite banking or the Nelson Nash Institute and 5 advertisements come up before you get down to the authorized, Nelson Nash Institute, and it's the infinitebanking.org. That's where it is.
Yes.
Okay. So, or you could just go to bankwithlife.com, push the button on the website that says become a client, share a little information with us, and we'll meet you where you're at, no matter where you're at financially, a little, a lot, complex, complicated, simple, compound, doesn't matter. I'm talking about your finances. We can, I'm just bold enough to say that we can improve your situation. All right.
You're bold, but you're right. So, and that's an excellent plug, by the way.
I didn't mean to throw you off, but if we're sending people somewhere, you might as well give them the shortcut to success.
Absolutely.
Right?
Come to us. Yeah, no, absolutely. I want to talk to you guys. I really do.
Right. He's waiting by the phone.
I'm waiting right now.
Wait. Oh, here comes a call. I'm kidding.
First caller. No. Anyways, but yeah, when it comes to IBC, I see that a lot, right? A lot of people who are advertising whatever they're doing. And there's a couple things, I guess, since we're on the subject, we should kind of tell people to watch out for. Because just other things I've heard and I've seen recently.
So we've told them what to do. But before we get into what not to do, let's continue with what to do. Okay, so you want to purchase and read Nelson's first book, Becoming Your Own Banker. That's the source. He created the concept. He discovered the concept. Yes, your grandfather might have sold life insurance. Yes, it might have had a cash value. If it does have a cash value, it has a loan provision. That's not the same thing as banking. Okay. Typical life insurance since the late 1800s, people put money in there and then they relied on policy loans and cash values. The infinite banking concept, becoming your own banker, was discovered by R. Nelson Nash. He tells you his story in the first part of his book. Long about 1980 and 81, he had some challenges. He printed this book in 2000. Prior to that, and like I said, he tells you a story, but he was a forester. He knows how to think long range. He was a real estate investor, and he was a life insurance agent from 1964 until he graduated in 2019.
My opinion, the greatest life insurance agent of all time.
Well, I agree with that because, well, why do you say that?
Well, he came up with the concept of becoming your own banker. But not only that, I mean, he helped not just, I don't know how many clients Nelson ended up having over his life, helped a tremendous amount of his clients, but his family, he set up multi-generationally. I mean, just the things the man did in his lifetime.
5 generations is what he did, had a hand in.
It's insane. A lot of people can't think 5 generations out, much less actually put it into practice and do it. But the man wrote, 2 great books.
So what to do, the first book, Becoming Your Own Banker. The second book,
yes,
Building a Warehouse of Wealth. Okay.
And again, that's where that chapter out of Egypt, Non, and Babylon is in. It's really one of the last chapters, or the last chapter of Building Your Warehouse of Wealth. Great book too. But when we talk about Nelson being the greatest agent of all time, he also started the Nelson Nash Institute. That's a big deal. He started an institute to provide and to continue that legacy. Provide for the people who are, getting into the infinite banking concept, becoming agents and teaching their clients and teaching their friends, family, how to become their own banker. He created that as a resource for them. But also legacy and prosperity, and posterity.
Is that a Freudian slip?
Prosperity, yeah.
Prosperity.
Maybe a little bit. Hey, man,
I hope your posterity is prosperous.
Absolutely. And I hope, Nelson and his future generations, his family and their future generations are prosperous because of what Nelson set up. Okay. I know they will be, but, what he did, what he taught, and what he created no other agent has done anything like that. I've seen some ad copy from agents. There's some good stuff out there. Don't get me wrong. Some good books.
Chat GPT.
Some of that. But it's hard to take such a fantastic concept. I don't know anybody who's ever done this, taken such a fantastic concept such as the infinite banking concept and put it into 90 pages, guys. And this honestly was a workbook. This was a workbook that Nelson taught out of. I mean, that's really what it started out as in its original form, right? Nelson was, teaching seminars, doing seminars, and this is kind of the workbook he had, his clients working out of.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know a workbook, but he used to do it on the old slide projector, Yeah. What is that where the transparent paper,
the
you put it down and then it projects onto the wall. But I don't know workbook per se. I know there's people out there that have created workbooks, but his homework assignments were reading.
Yeah.
So that was a work that he encouraged people who attended his presentations. I think he was a great life insurance, one of the greatest, probably the greatest life insurance salesman in the world is myself. And the reason I think that is because, so his brother was a life insurance agent. Nelson had been buying life insurance since he was 13. The first policy was put in force on him at age 13. His daddy gave him that policy at age 14 and said, here, boy, this is yours. You pay for it, right? Then he meets Mary, 19, 20, and 21. They buy more policies. So he'd been buying life insurance a long time. Mm-hmm. And then he becomes a life insurance agent in 1964. Of course, he quit writing life insurance when he printed the book in 2000 outside of his family, and he kept his existing clients. And then he graduated in 2019. All right. So what is that? 64 to 2000. Was that 37 years, something like that?
Yeah.
Roughly. And then we just rounding, add another 20 to that. So I don't want to round too much, but 57, almost 60 years. He was an agent, and he had been buying life insurance for 75 years. Okay. The man knew something about life insurance.
Maybe he knew a little bit.
All right. And then and I don't know what the current membership at the Nelson Nash Institute is, but I've been participating in that organization with Nelson since about 2004.
Yeah.
Okay. The first think tank I went to, and I think I've been to all of them except one or two. I think there was about 9 people in the room. All right. Now the last, and so it grew. And I think in 2013 there was 270-ish. And I think the last year, this is 2023, of course. And the think tank is normally held in February. It's been historically held in Birmingham, Alabama. But I think the last one there was 150.
Yeah, something
160
right.
people, agents. Okay. All right. Now just giving you the background. Stay with me. All right. So there's, 20 years of think tanks that I'm aware of. Started at 9, got up to about almost 300, and now back down to 150. Mm-hmm. I think there are 400 or 500 practitioners total across the country. All right. And so all of them, of course, don't attend currently. Right. All right. Now, so let's just get to a round number for me. 300. Say there are 300 active, participating, authorized practitioners. I mean, I don't know how many clients they have to, acquire in a given year to remain in business or successful. I don't know, but I think they could probably get 50 new clients a year.
Pretty easily, I would think.
That's 300.
Yeah.
That's 1,500 times 20 years. And I know there's more clients.
Oh, yeah.
There's more agents now than there were in the beginning. I know I'm averaging and rounding, and I like round numbers. Okay. So indulge me. That's a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, we're not even talking about 80-20 rule, about how, 20% is really the heavy producers, where 80%, maybe around 50 clients a year or something like that. The other 20% that are knocking out of the park, they may do quite a bit more than that too.
Well, I was told, I think it was last year, that I have over $1 billion of death benefit in force. So,
touches my heart.
Let's see.
B. Billion.
Yeah, it's a big number until you run into government numbers. But no, I mean, that's in force. So I've had clients die. I've had clients get mad and wander off the reservation, get mad and quit for whatever reason. God bless you. Vio con Dios. I did everything that, I knew to do to provide the top level of service that you would expect. Mm-hmm. But my point here is if you've got, what I say, 300 average times 50, what is that? That's a big number. Is that 15,000 clients in a year?
That would be. Yep.
Is that right?
That is right. 15,000.
Yeah.
Well, 15,000 clients, per year. If you're saying everyone gets 20 or everybody gets 50.
Yeah.
But that's got to be a low number though. That's got to be a low number.
I'd rather be conservative. So
that's the right number. 300 times 50 is 15,000. Yeah. But yeah,
the second mistake I made all day. The first mistake was doubting myself.
There you go.
Okay.
No, but that's. I think a very low number. I don't know how many people have IBC policy, true IBC policies. I'm not talking about your IUL policies that your guy said was IBC. They can't read page 39. But over 20 years, that's a massive number.
Well, let's just carry it out just for. I'm indulging myself.
What is that? 300,000
hanging out with me. Yeah, it's 300. It'd be 300,000 in 20 years, and so let's cut that in half. I don't care. Let's take a third off of it.
I think we can almost double it, and still let's just say it was 600,000 people are practicing the infinite banking concept. In the United States.
I don't know. There's only been 350,000 infinite banking or becoming your own banker books sold.
I'm just saying, let's just say,
okay.
Let's just give a stupid, round, gigantic number.
Okay.
That's still less than, 0.001% of the United States population. Mm-hmm. There's such a small amount of people that are doing this. I hear people, quite often would say, "No, Jack, I feel like I've waited too long," or I wish I would have heard about this 20 years ago. The book was printed 20 years ago. Stop beating yourself up. You're not too late. I can almost promise everyone who's listening, you're not too late. So if that's your hesitation, if that's your qualm, it's like, stop.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I'm still trying to get to why I think Nelson was the greatest life insurance salesman, right?
Oh, because you're trying to break down the numbers of what he's influenced.
Trying to spitball a number out of how much life insurance that man caused to go in force.
Billions. I don't know if...
I don't really think that we can calculate it. I get it.
Well, if you just use the round number of 300,000, and let's say the average death benefit is $1 million over somebody's life. What is that, like $3 billion?
I think 30 billion.
Just do that math. That's an insane amount of money.
Man, if I knew we were going to talk about this, I'd have done all the math prior.
Yeah. It's funny. We do math all day long. So, again, what would you say? Just because we do it all day long doesn't mean it comes right to us at all times.
There's not enough zeros on this calculator.
I love it.
It's 3, to the, I don't know. Here. $300 trillion. I don't know. It's a big number.
Yes.
You do the math at home on your Google calculator. It'll pop right up. 15,000 people, a total involvement over a 20-year time period, and say 15,000 people. No, 20 years. That 300,000 people that maybe has $500,000 in total death benefit. That's just now. Looking back, every day, I think the infinite banking concept is becoming is getting more and more exposure. Mm-hmm. So that's why I think that one reason that I think Nelson was the greatest life insurance salesman ever, and the cause of all that is because he made one think. You know, he didn't get out of bed and like, how much death benefit can I write today? People don't get up and wake up in the morning and say, oh, let me go buy some life insurance. Can you imagine? Hey, let me go talk to a life insurance. No, he made you think, right? And then, like you had mentioned earlier on the investment world, you know, chasing rates of returns. I mean, you know, just diminish it to the lowest common denominator, rate of return. Nobody talked about banking until Nelson shows up.
Right? The banking function.
That's right.
They want you to advocate your thought of the banking. They don't want you to take control
of it.
Not even be aware of it, much less take control of the banking function in your life. Yeah. They want that control. That's what they need. And I mean, we can go, you know, on and on about, you know, really just the banking function itself, but really the discovery of controlling that banking function in your life may be his greatest accomplishment. I mean, that's, to me, it's revolutionary.
No question.
And at the end of the day, if we could break people out of that, you know, that thought process of, you know, that's just the highest rate of return, you know, or, you know, because it seems like the investment world right now, it's all about, you know, well, you know, what kind of risk do you want to put yourself at? You know, do you want to put yourself like, you know, moderate risk? You want, you know, heavy risk? Do you want very low risk?
Yeah, the longer you expose yourself to that probability of loss, the better off you're going to be.
Oh, and but then it's like, well, that will determine your rate of return. So if you want a higher rate of return, you should expose yourself to more risk. You know, it's like clowns playing games with numbers is all I see. But that's like the current financial world.
Makes me want to go to a carnival.
I mean, you get the same kind of logic there too. But you know, it's
clowns playing games. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, but once you like free yourself from that shackle of the current financial world, and I had a client that said it, and I love what he said. He said this concept was wholesomely rebellious. That was his words that he put on a fast track that he sent us. And that's what drew him to this, is because it was wholesomely rebellious.
I like him.
I love it's one of my favorites. Jeremy, if you're listening, I love you, man. It's hilarious. But, you know, I've been saying that to other clients recently, too, because I absolutely agree. It's wholesomely rebellious. And not Jeremy, all rebellious.
I'm going to use that. So, Jeremy, you shared that with us, huh?
Yeah. So, again, getting back to, you know, this whole, you know, freeing yourself from the current, would you say, financial landscape, the current financial shackles that we're all, you know, shackled to, because we're all experiencing the same things, guys. You go talk to any advisor out there, and they're like, "Why are you putting all of your money in life insurance? Are you an idiot?"
What?
Like
what? Do you know how much commission that guy's making?
Let's do the
He's not even an investment advisor. He's just a life insurance salesman. He probably sells annuities too. I can't believe you're doing that. Question your intelligence and then their character.
Yeah.
Right. Because what'd you call him, a financial guru or financial professional?
Yeah, financial
or a clown show? What? I mean, that individual, right? They I'll stop.
Yeah. No, I mean, not again, I think most of our clients, most people who are listening, they're in the process of freeing themselves from their financial shackles, or they're at least understanding why you should, right? Because it's, what I think some people are still struggling with is why, I don't want to say rate of return is a bad thing. It's just a calculation of a number. It's not a bad thing. It's being beholden to a rate of return, which is a bad thing, right?
Just like solely focusing on chasing a rate of return.
Yeah.
While you're abdicating the banking function and the banking responsibility of your life, while you're straining at camels. No, you're straining at gnats and swallowing camels.
Yeah.
Because it just fits the paradigm. Mm-hmm. Wall Street got you focused on rate of return, and jumping smooth over the rate by volume of interest that is fleeing from you because you're not controlling the banking function. So
absolutely,
swallowing gnats and swallowing camels and straining at gnats.
Anyways, so there's quite a bit out there that I don't want to say is bad. You guys, and you know this from reading Nelson's book, there's a lot of noise out there, and you're constantly going to be dipped in that noise, and that noise, part of that is going to be rates of return. So when we're looking at life insurance policies, and you're solely focused on the rate of return of a life insurance policy, maybe that's not the only thing you should focus on. Maybe you should look at the cash value and look at the volume of cash value over the life of the policy. Maybe you should look at the death benefit. I know we're not trying to buy life insurance for death, but no, yes, we are. At the end of the day, the death benefit.
Yes, we are.
No, because it's like, no, I'm not, Jake. No, I'm not. It's like I promise you are, because there's an easy way to say this, and there's a longer way to say it as well. The easiest way I know to maybe explain it to somebody is that the cash value is a function of the death benefit. So if you have a lower death benefit, inversely, you're going to have a lower cash value, and especially over the lifetime of a policy. If you look at the maturity of a policy, which is age 121 now, all cash values have to match death benefit at age 121. Just a principle of whole life insurance has to happen, right? So we understand that now. So out in the future, do I want a lower death benefit? Well, think about it. If you have a lower death benefit, inversely, you're going to have a lower cash value. No, you want an appropriate death benefit with great liquidity, and you want high cash value growth over the lifetime of your policy. And what the rate of return is, right? I've seen some policies that have a lower rate of return that I would probably buy before, policies with a higher rate of return, but they're paying premiums the same time period. It depends on what the rate, right? Whether you're super preferred, standard.
Well, that would be one where that can make a difference, because then you're just actually looking at the cost of the death benefit, right? Which you can't separate.
Yeah.
Whole life insurance, the cost of the death benefit from the cash value. If you do, you wind up with universal life, and it was a failure, still is a failure. And I know there's a lot of people buying it, selling it, making a lot of money, but it's still a failure. It just may not have happened in your life yet.
Read page 39, folks. Yeah. I'm just saying.
Isn't it funny how, we talk about this all the time. Whenever you have calls with prospective clients, and you can, just dang near tell what they've been exposed to or listening to, or where they're spending their time learning. And then we hear what they experience too, right? And so they experience all these individuals out there, talking about Nelson Nash, infinite banking concepts, and then slinging and selling universal life insurance. And the point that you often bring up to me is Dad, can't these agents, advisors, can't they read? Because they mention Nelson's book, but they sure don't read it, or they skip over that part.
They say they're experts on the infinite banking concept, and that's why you should call them. Except they haven't read page 39 that says universal life and variable life are not a fit for the infinite banking concept.
Well, look, they read the other 91 pages.
Yeah, right? I'm sure they did. It's like, just another tool in the tool belt, for them to sell something. Anyways, not trying to be super super about folks out there, but you see a lot of stuff out there, and I'm doing a CLU course right now. And part of that CLU course.
God bless you.
Yeah, thanks.
You're a certified life underwriter. It's a designation within the life insurance industry.
We have to do posts, right? So in the classroom, there's a forum, and you have to do, a post for every chapter you complete. And
so you got to drag all the deadbeat teammates with you. I'm kidding.
You're graded individually. Okay. But I will say,
is it team effort?
But you can see everyone's posts.
Oh, okay.
So I go through and I read people's posts.
No, that's good. That's a good thing. I was thinking of a group project. I'm sorry. Okay.
Well, in the CLU course, we're going over ethics right now. And I'm reading all of these, guys who are selling universal life, variable life, and they're going through and talking about how, the ethics of life insurance, right? And, how it's, the paramount thing. It is number one in all these posts. And I kind of, type back, I don't want to say a cheeky reply, but it was, like, hey, I'm so glad that we're all on the same page here. Cause, all I hear, is about life insurance agents, scamming people or doing, bad things, doing things they shouldn't do. And it's like, but everybody in this classroom is just right on there with ethics. We're all, yes, ethics is the highest thing. It's like, I'm there. I completely agree with that. I don't know how sincere everyone else is. I hope they are all very sincere.
I think they are.
I hope they really are. But there's a lot of these folks that I'm pretty sure if I actually looked at what they do, I wouldn't want my mother to be their client.
Wait, how can you say that? You hadn't even met these people. This is an online course.
But I'm just saying, if you talk about life, we're talking about
life insurance. You're talking about the financial world in general.
Financial world in general.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense to me.
But even in the life insurance industry, I mean, there's no exception in the life insurance industry from scammy people who are doing things that aren't okay. I mean, just go look up infinite banking and watch all these people who aren't part of the Nelson Nash Institute talking about how they do the infinite banking concept. They're experts, but they don't follow many or if any principles that Nelson talks about. And it's all about rate of return, and universal life. I mean, it's...
Listen, man, they got to get paid.
Man, it just hurts for me because...
It does.
I can't imagine somebody I grew up in this, right? I grew up listening to Nelson, grew up listening to you. I knew if I ever had issues or if I ever, wanted to learn more about, anything when it came to the financial world, all I had to do is come talk to my dad. Or, if I had, questions about something or a financial product that I may be buying or looking into, I could call my dad. I always had that. Most people don't. Most people have zero to very, very little not just life insurance, but financial, what would you say, guidance, financial, experience and learning in the schools. There's none. There's none.
It's a taboo, when I was growing up, and it wasn't that dang long ago. I know I got white hair, but listen, I've had gray hair since high school, okay? You couldn't talk about sex, religion, what's the other one?
Politics.
And politics. Yeah. Today, it's like you can't talk about money.
Yeah.
Right. So, that's we kind of started down the path of what to do. It's okay to educate yourself. And let me quickly run through that. Nelson's first book, Becoming Your Own Banker. Second book, Building Your Warehouse of Wealth. A third book, How Privatized Banking Really Works. That was written by Dr. Robert Murphy and Carlos Lara. Carlos Lara is a board member of the Nelson Nash Institute, along with David Stearns. And then there is a 6.5-hour video series of Nelson Nash himself that is available. You can either buy the DVD and have it and own it and plug it into your game box or your children's game box, or you can pay for the digital access to this 6.5 hours. And the Becoming Your Own Banker book is available on Audible. Okay, so I think, and you can go to infinitebanking.org. That is the Nelson Nash Institute, their website. Or you can go to bankingwithlife.com. That is our website. And you can buy these materials there. And if you... if you go to either my store, our store, or Nelson Nash Institute store, and you buy the digital access or the video, the access to the video, the 6.5-hour video, just type in BWL 20. You'll get a 20% discount. Okay. All right. All of that, the total price for those 3 books and that video series is probably $225. That'd be about right. Yeah, with that 20% discount.
Yeah.
$225. Maybe some taxes, shipping and handling. And the BYOB is about a 4-hour read. Building a Warehouse of Wealth is, let's say, a 5-hour read.
Yeah.
how privatized banking really works, let's say that's a 5 hour. And then you have 6.5 hour video, under $250. Okay, this is time that you might find well spent. If you read, just buy the one, Becoming Your Own Banker book. If you don't like it, stop there. If you do like it, get the other materials. Take the time to educate yourself for your benefit and the benefit of your family. Okay, so that's what to do, right? And then it kind of, when we were talking about the financial education in the world today is just dang near nil, non-existent. And then talking about what you can talk about and historically in the family, what you can, it's go ahead. I'm encouraging, learn this as a family. Learn it and then share it with your spouse and then share it with your children. And so if there is a lack of financial education in your home, you can fix that. So,
and you should. It's your responsibility to do so.
Yeah. So I'm just being encouraging. There's Nelson's. I'm telling you his stories in the first of that book. And this book really originated over many months at 2 or actually 3 and 4 in the morning. Because he had worked himself into such a financial prison. Just like the Israelites out of Egypt on to Babylon. They spent 400 years in Egypt. They knew how to be a good slave. And if you think that you're not born automatically today unawares into a debt slave construct, you just are not paying attention. So you don't have to remain a slave unless you want to be a really good slave, right? Because is it Goethe, Johann Goethe? It's like the best slave is the one who thinks he's free. All right, I digress.
That's awesome. Well, I did have one
sure,
thing.
Bring it on.
No, it's more of a joke after the podcast, but it's funny because
they might want to laugh too.
Yeah, no, it's funny, but you said what you should do is start off with BYOB. 100% agree with that. And if you don't like it, stop there. I say no. If you don't like that, read Case for IBC, because it may just beat you up with enough stuff that it makes you. Some people are masochists and they like to get beat up.
Oh my gosh.
They do. There was one guy I talked to who's a client.
I don't think that book has ever been mentioned on this podcast. Okay. Ever.
Maybe reasons why.
But don't use it. There's 2. Well, since you brought it up, let's talk about it. I don't want to go into. There's 2 editions, the first edition, the second edition. The second edition has an additional illustration because the first edition only had 1 illustration that was flawed.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I want to be positive though. So
I had a client one time who, he didn't end up becoming a client, and
so you had a bunch of lengthy conversations with somebody.
I had a couple conversations. One was lengthy. God bless this guy. But the first thing he said was that he found Nelson's book too simple.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, well,
he
how
must have been highly educated. PhD.
He thought he was. He wasn't a PhD, but he thought he was smarter than everybody else. He thought he knew something that Nelson didn't. And to me, it's funny when people say that that's a simple book, and I think Nelson tried to make it simple because simple is better. Let's be honest. These people who write these 1,000-page books that just beat you up with verbiage. I mean, it's
verbiage.
Yeah, I use that for a reason.
Exactly.
It's what it is. It's verbal garbage. It's verbage. We really want to get down to it.
Linguistic subterfuge.
Yeah. Some people like that. They like to be beat up with.
Are they impressing themselves when they're writing the book?
Oh my God. They know what they're doing. They know what their clients are, right? They know what the people who want to read their books, what they want to do. And that's get beat up with a bunch of, they read textbooks. These are people who enjoy textbooks when, you go sign up for a course, whether it's, your college or whatever happens to be. Those are the people that love those textbooks and think those are great reads. By the way, I can't stand textbooks. I think they're all terrible reads. I think they're purposely done so too. If you wanted to, maybe educate somebody, maybe do so in a way that, fits with how people like to be educated. Maybe some, cute stories, maybe make it simple on somebody, maybe not try to beat them up, with, just a bunch of language that really has nothing to do with understanding the concept that you're trying to teach. Anyways,
so he thought he was really smart.
Yeah, he thought
it. It's like Nelson's book's really simple.
It's just too simple. Like I need it more difficult. Like that's what he was saying, and I was just absolutely. But do you understand it? Yeah. Okay, so what's wrong? So he taught you in a very simple way, a very simple concept at its core and structure. It's like, what's wrong with that? Well, it wasn't hard enough,
complicated enough. Yeah.
Isn't that like such a huge thing though? I see people, they want to be beat up with like I keep saying verbiage. They want to be beat up with a bunch of words, and then they want to be confused. They want to feel like this knowledge is some sort of unattainable knowledge, and most of the time that's just garbage. I mean, is what it ends up being.
So that guy didn't become a client?
No, thankfully not. Oh. So we ended up having the conversation because he was trying to find something difficult. And I was like, all right, it's okay. You don't have to become a client. And I don't remember exactly how the conversation, but I know how it ended.
Bye, Felicia.
I know how it ended. And it was in a very nice way. And, I said, we're parting as friends, it's okay if, you decide to come back later on.
I'll call you.
No, it's go ahead. If you, we're here to help everyone. If it didn't work out, call us in the future. That's fine. We can have another conversation. But I had asked him, do me a favor though. If you go buy one of these complicated things that you're looking for out there in the big wide world, and they call it IBC, and it doesn't work out for you, please don't go around saying that IBC's garbage and the IBC doesn't work. And that goes for everyone, in my opinion. It's if you went and bought something that's not IBC, that's not through the Nelson Nash Institute, that's not, whole life insurance. If you buy some sort of weird construct or whatever, because it's, complicated and it seems like, something that would be, I don't know, complicated. I don't know really what these people are looking for besides something complicated. But if you do that, right, please don't go around, bashing Nelson's legacy, saying that BYOB, that the infinite banking concept is wrong, right? It's harmful to Nelson's legacy.
Well, half the guys girls, whatever, the promoters of these jank concepts, and they're really jank concepts. It's really Nelson's work, the infinite banking concept, becoming your own banker. Then it's bastardized, and they're going, changing whatever, whether they're changing products to UL or they're mutilating the policy and into Frankenstein, zombie policies that look good or may have an illustrated high rate of return or whatever.
Yeah.
Those individuals are the ones that say, by action and even verbally, well, Nelson did a good work and, he discovered it or he made us aware of it, but I improved it. Isn't that saying the infinite banking is not good and doesn't work? It doesn't work as good as it should, implying.
There's just so much ego there that's it's ridiculous. 'Cause here's my whole thing.
I mean, but my point is they fit together. The people that go off and do weird stuff are the same people that build weird stuff and call it good.
That goes all over me when I hear that too. When people say they've improved or they've done something, it's so you're telling me that Mises' student, Leonard E. Reed, his student, R. Nelson Nash, who was the greatest life insurance agent of all time, who wrote maybe one of the most important pieces of life insurance literature of all time, you can improve his concept? You know better than he does? You 30-year-old young man who thinks you know everything, you knew more than Nelson over his 60 years of experience with his teachers and his mentors and that lineage. You know more?
They can prove it too, because they can build an illustration with a higher rate of return.
Gosh. Well, I don't know if that podcast will be released, just how negative that at times it could get.
Fine. It is what it is. So you finished?
Yeah.
Any other comments before we close here?
No. I had a great time, hanging out with you, talking. And I always love talking about, becoming your own banker, not just the book, but, IBC, the infinite banking concept itself too. I wish more people would talk about Nelson's Becoming Your Own Banker book. It really is a revolutionary book that if people truly understood what it stood for, what it was about.
They'd probably kill us.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
No.
They is, they.
Yeah. Like if the banking cartel truly understood what this was, yeah, we probably.
Listen, I'm just a life insurance salesman. All right. I had fun. You should, come back more often, more regularly.
I gotta improve, so absolutely. I need to do as many of these as we can because.
Okay, well, look. Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, thanks for listening. I had fun. Okay.
Thank you for joining us on the Banking with Life podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe and click on that little notification bell. Otherwise, join us on Apple Podcasts and Stitcher for weekly content.